So, hello, and thank you very much, Mrs. Allende, for being with us today talking about your new book, Mujeres del Alma Mía, which will be published in English as The Soul of a Woman, and we already have it in Romania as What Women Want. So, what would you say to somebody in order to go buy the book and read it?
I would not say anything. I mean, I have very loyal readers, and maybe some of them will pick up the book, but I'm not selling the book. I just write the book. So I'm not trying to incite people to read it. This is what I feel about being a woman. And if some people are interested, that's fine.
How did you choose the subject?
It wasn't my idea. So a few years ago, I gave a speech in Mexico City in a conference, in a women's conference, and it was one of those viral phenomena. It went out viral. And my publishers in Spain said, let's make a little booklet out of the speech. So I read it and I said, no, this is completely dated. I mean, so many things have happened in a few months that we need to forget it. And I started thinking, reflecting upon the subject and upon my own life as a woman, as a feminist, and what's happening today in the world for women. Because I work with women and for women. And so that's how it came to be.
What would you say about this book? If somebody would ask you, so what is this book about?
You know, I have been doing a lot of interviews and I couldn't define the book at the beginning, but now because journalists have given me some feedback, it has been called a fictionalized essay or a personal essay or a factual memoir. So it's a combination of personal experience, of memoir, and also of ideas, the ideas that I have had all my life about what it is to be a woman and what it is to fight for women's rights.
What do you think is the main feature of the women you chose for this book?
Strength, resilience. These women have gone through great difficulties, obstacles, and they have overcome them with great strength without losing the generosity of the spirit, the capacity for happiness and for joy, love. And that's the kind of woman that I am attracted to, not only for this book, but also for my novels. The characters in my novels are that kind of women. And I don't have to invent them. They are all over, all around me. I have a foundation and I meet these women who have gone through hell. They have suffered incredible trauma. They have lost everything, sometimes even their children, and they get back on their feet and they fight back and they get on with their lives. So those are the women I want in my books and in my life.
What would you like a woman or a man to say after reading this book?
Maybe to consider what in this book sounds personal. How can the reader, male or female, identify with what I'm saying? You know, feminism has been attacked so badly from the very beginning, especially by men, that the word feminism creates some rejection, especially in men.
It's scary for some
scary
people.
Some women think that it's not sexy, so it's scary for that reason. But men feel challenged, and they don't like it. So that's not a problem with young men, because the young men that have been brought up by women like me don't feel that way, but other men do. So I would like them to reflect upon that and see, for example, when I say that women live with fear, it's very hard for a man to understand that, especially a man that is not aggressive and that he feels that, why would they say that about me? Well, you have to consider the system. Patriarchy is a system of oppression, and women are the oppressed. So how does oppression work? With different kinds of violence. So the fact that women live in fear is something that we have to talk about. We have to have it in the public discourse.
And of course, you're not talking, and we are not thinking just to the women that are surrounding us. It's about women that are all over the world, and they're still in very difficult situations, even nowadays.
Yes, but also the women around you and around me, who, for example, don't dare get out alone at night in a place they don't know. They are scared when they take a car and it's at night in a place in another city, for example. Young women who pass walking in front of a construction site and they cross to the other side because they don't want men to say things to them. Women who feel that if they don't take care of themselves, they might be harassed, and if things get really bad, they might be raped. A woman that goes into a bar has to be very careful. A man that goes into a bar doesn't have to worry about it. So when we talk about fear, there are different levels of fear. Of course, the fear of a woman who is at war, who is in northern Congo, in a refugee camp, of course, that's extreme fear. But there are different levels, and we are used, it's in our DNA as women to take care, to be cautious, because anything we do can provoke aggression and violence.
You're talking about feminism, about this scary thing about feminism for some people, but you're talking also about feminine. So how could we be feminist and being feminine at the same time?
So why would be? It's not an opposite at all.
Exactly.
It's not an opposite at all. I consider myself very feminine. For me, motherhood is important. To be a wife, to be a bride, to be in love, to put on nice clothes, to put on makeup. I love fashion. I love color. I love beauty, and that has nothing to do with my feminism. Feminism is my how can I say it? It's my struggle to defeat patriarchy. That's the last and the biggest goal of feminism. And it has nothing to do with being feminine. I think, on the contrary, a feminist woman can be very sexy.
And you were saying that also you find yourself being feminist even when you were just 5 years old and you were in Chile.
Well, I didn't know what was happening to me, of course. Nobody knew, because feminism was not a word, was not a concept in Chile in the 40s, in my family or the society in which I was growing up. I grew up in the house of my grandfather, who was a lovely man that I adored, but he was really a patriarch, very authoritarian, very masculine.
Very macho.
And, very macho in many ways. And I was angry at everything because I saw my mother as very vulnerable, fragile, dependent, resources. She was abandoned by her husband with 3 babies, and she was not prepared to work. She had been educated to be somebody's daughter, somebody's wife, somebody's mother, but not really to take care of herself, to be able to support herself and her children. So she depended on her father. And I saw my mother with a very limited life. I was angry at that, and angry at the fact that I was a female too, and that would be my destiny. I would have rather be like my brothers. But then when I was around 17, 18, I started reading feminist books from Europe and the United States, and I realized that I wasn't a lunatic. There was a movement out there in the world, millions of women thinking the same way, feeling the same way, and there was an articulate language to express this and action that could be taken. And so everything changed for me at that point, and I could really channel all this rage into action, let's say.
What drives us in life?
Depends on the person. Some person are driven by material ambition or by power or by politics, whatever. I am driven by love. I think love has been the force that has pushed me forward. And it's not only the love of the men that I have had in my life, but mostly the love of my mother and my children. that's a huge source of nourishment for me that has allowed me to do a lot. And I love writing, so it's the love of writing also.
Because you're talking about love, do you think we can believe to fall in love at any age with the same passion?
Well, that has been my experience. I just got married. I'm 78 years old, and I got married last year. So if you ask me if is it possible to fall in love at any age, I have to say, at least in my case, that has been my experience. And people ask me, how is it to fall in love at an old age? Let me tell you, it's the same as falling in love at 20 or 40 or 60. It's the same. The difference when you are old is that you don't have much time. And I think that people my age,
pressure of time.
Yes, people my age know that death is around the corner, and not only death, but maybe dependency, decrepitude, and so every day counts. I visualize my future as a calendar, and every day I take out a page of the calendar. So I don't want to waste a day. When I am with Roger, I have to be patient, tolerant, loving. There's no time for little games, for jealousy, for the stupid things that bother a relationship. And it makes life and the relationship and love very precious, very precious.
Do you also believe in this online dating that is very in fashion nowadays?
It works very well for some people. It doesn't work so well at an old age because older men want very young women. And when you go online, you read the ads and you have these 70-year-old grumpy old grandfathers who want a 30-year-old woman. What are they thinking? They're crazy. And so for women, it's harder. It's harder. But it works for many people. I know many people who have found a companion in online.
I know that you're a great admirer of Sophia Loren, and
Yes.
I wanted to ask if you have seen the latest movie that she did, where her son was the director.
Was it released already?
Yes,
the movie?
yes, it's very
You saw it?
You should see it.
What's the name of the movie?
It's Life Ahead.
Oh yes, I saw that. Yes.
Yeah.
What is it about?
Oh, it's really nice. It's about a woman that she was in the Holocaust, and then in the period of Holocaust, and then now she's taking care of the kids that they don't have mothers anymore, because even the mothers were prostitutes and they abandoned the kids. Even they just left the kids, and she's taking care of these kids. But she's really, really good, and the subject is very interesting.
Yeah, I find it fascinating.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because I'm fascinated by her.
Yeah. She was a symbol of beauty and sexuality in the 60s, 70s. Of course, everybody knew her. But now when I tell my grandchildren about her, they don't know who she is. And I can't believe that someone in the world doesn't know who Sophia Loren is.
Because we're talking about her. What means beauty for you? When we're talking about a woman, what is beauty?
Oh, it's light. It's something like a light that comes out from inside. In the book, I mentioned a woman who is called Olga Murray, and she's 95 years old now because she just turned 95. And she's this little old lady who is all energy and brightness and happiness and works like crazy. And she has saved 15,000 girls from human bondage, from servitude. She has orphanages. She has done so much in her life. To me, she's so beautiful. Her eyes are shining. And when you are with her, you can feel the energy, the presence of her. That's beauty.
What do you think about this, Instagram and social media that is, in general, that is influencing the young girls about the idea of beauty?
Look, the stress, the pressure on young women for beauty has always been there. always. Now it's exacerbated by the technology, but it has always been there. When I was young, it was the same. There were some models that you should emulate. You had to be tall and thin and blonde, and well, you would be perfect. But not me. Not me. I am really short.
I'm short too.
So when I was young and when I was a teenager, it was awful, the pressure. So it has always been there, and it takes years. It takes maturity. It takes experience to put all that aside and be yourself. And when you feel comfortable in your skin, everybody else thinks that you are beautiful.
You're talking about energy, the power of the feminine energy. Do you feel like more and more women are present in the management of the world?
Not enough. We are more present than we were 50 years ago, of course. In my lifetime, I have seen the difference. But we need a critical number of women in power to change power, so that power will not be an exercise in oppression and violence and greed. And that will be achieved not only when we have gender parity, and that is in equal number of women and men in the management of the world, but also when masculine and feminine values will have the same weight in the society. And that is the end of the patriarchy.
Do you feel like the more women in power would really change the world because they can do something that maybe a man can't?
Yes, but if there are enough women, I mean, if you have, I was talking to a male journalist the other day, and he said, "What are you talking about? Look at Merkel in Germany." And he named 5 women who are in power. And I said, the fact that you can name them says something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The fact that you can name them is because there are 5. So it doesn't work that way. Those women reach that place because they have had to fight against the system, and they have had to act like men. They have to fight with the skills of a man. What we need is the skills of women in equal numbers in the management of the world, and that will be achieved. But I will not see it. Maybe my granddaughters will.
How would you like to be the world for your granddaughters? How would you like?
We were talking about? What we were talking about, a world with gender parity, with a world, first of all, that we would take care of each other and take care of the planet, and understand that we are one human family. And whatever happens to a person in a village in China happens to all of us with this virus is the best example. That war is not the solution for any problem. That if we don't take care of each other, we all perish. And that if we don't take care of the planet, we will also perish. So that's the kind of world I want my granddaughters to live. And I think it's achievable. There are places in the world where life is way more balanced. And for example, Norway, Iceland. And there are places in the world where life is hell, like some places in Congo, some places where violence is the norm, where life expectancy is 35 years old because you will die of whatever happens to you. So where poverty, right now, there is the problem in Yemen, where 24 million people will starve unless the United Nations or someone intervenes. That is not possible in the 21st century.
You feel that we need a lot of, more empathy. That's it.
Empathy, but empathy is not some spiritual thing. Empathy is practical.
To do something for these people.
Yeah.
You think about them and say, oh, poor of them.
No, but the fact that you do something is not because you're a good person. It's because it is convenient for everybody. Empathy is what saves us all.
What did you learn in this during this lockdown, in this period of lockdown?
Well, first of all, I learned that I need way less than I have. Less of everything. Less food, less clothes, less space, less social stuff. I don't need to travel anymore. I learned that I do very well when I'm alone in silence, because that's a requirement for my writing. So in these few months of the pandemic, I was able to finish the book that we are talking about, and I finished a novel. So I'm revising the last chapters of the novel that should be ready by December. So in a year, I have been able to be very productive.
So
which
it was
means
not
that
affecting your work.
No, not my work. And not my relationships either, because the really important relationships, I've been able to keep them. There's a lot of people that I don't want to see again, really. Lots of people that really keep them at a distance is way better.
Why? Why are you saying this?
Because I am pulled in every direction. Everybody wants a piece. And if I can keep myself contained in this space where I am now, I'm happier, I'm more productive, and healthier. It's good. What I have learned also is that in these times of crisis is when help is needed. Help, we have to give help to others. So I have a foundation, and my foundation has been stressed to the limit, trying to help people who are really hungry, people who have lost their jobs. And the other problem that is really terrible, and it's a hidden problem, is that during the pandemic, violence against women in the home has increased dramatically.
All over the world, it was the same problem, yes.
All over the world. And so women are locked in with their with the victimizer, with the perpetrator, and also the children, and there is no help. So that is really something to worry about. So in these times of pandemic or any kind of crisis is when we have to be more aware and more generous to help others.
What was and still is on your A list, if you're going to have an A list in life, no matter what?
I would have three things: health, love, and writing.
And because the title of the book in Romanian is What Women Want, I would like to finish this interview by asking you what women want.
And I can ask you, what do you want? Well, in the book, I say that women, first of all, want to live without fear. They want to live in peace. They don't want to live with violence for them or their children. So first of all, to be protected against violence. Then they want to have control over their bodies, their fertility. They don't want to be forced to have children that they don't want or that they cannot support. They don't want religion or the law to control their bodies.
To impose.
No, to impose anything. They are owners of their bodies. If they can have resources, income to control it, because in many, many places in the world, women work like crazy and they don't control their income. Women want to be connected between them, because a woman alone is very vulnerable, but many women together are invincible. So that is very important. I think that all women want love. We want to experience love, not only the love that we naturally have for our children, but we want to be loved also. And love is nourishment, and we all want it. It's not only the romantic love, although I think we want romantic love as well. We want love and respect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
A lot of love from here, from Romania.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for this wonderful book, and a lot of health, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.